Yeah. You're listening to Autodesk's Digital Builder Podcast, a show that inspires construction professionals to innovate and use technology to improve how they build our world. I'm Eric Thomas, and I've been working in construction for nearly a decade. And now I have the privilege to sit down with industry trailblazers to hear how they're solving construction's biggest challenges and redefining the future of the built environment. Welcome back to Autodesk Digital Builder Podcast. I am your host, Eric Thomas. We are coming once again live from Autodesk University. I'm having a fantastic conversation with my friend, Brooke, a digital delivery project manager with Burns McDonnell. And today we are going to be talking about a really cool project in space exploration. So if you are a space nerd, you really need to get over here and hang out because we're going to be talking about some cool stuff. But I think we've seen this interesting shift in recent years from a more public sector to a private sector in space exploration, and this project maps directly into that. Today, the project we're discussing is the Intuitive Machines super badass building facility in Houston, which it sounds like the name lives up to the dream. Steven, thank you so much for joining me, man. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good, Eric. Yeah, it's awesome to be back here in Vegas, especially coming back from New Orleans last year, and this is awesome just to be back in this venue. So really enjoying it.
The energy today is great. It's one of my favorite things about AU. Like, you get to see so much stuff. You get to have conversations with folks like yourself and talk about really cool projects and, just the visionary potential for, all the cool things in the design and make space. Everybody's probably tired of me talking at this point of the day. So I'm going to ask you my first question. You've been with Burns McDonnell for your entire career, almost 17 years. What has your growth been like at the company from a fresh grad working on groundbreaking projects like the one that we're talking about today? Walk through your journey.
It actually started back junior year of high school. My dad worked in the automotive industry, brought home his laptop and was like, hey, you want to check out what I do? And he showed me AutoCAD. And then from there, I really started getting into the CAD program in my high school. Winnetonka High School back in Kansas City, Missouri. And from there, I decided to go into a four-year program at the University of Central Missouri. They specialize with a four-year program in CAD and just really wanted to dive in. I was learning 3D modeling. Not a lot of people were doing it back in early 2000s. Started finding my passion for CAD. And then from there, the professor that I had my junior year left and went to Burns McDonnell. He reached out to me and said, hey, I've got a job for you, and I want you to come apply for it at Burns & Mac. And I didn't know anything about Burns & Mac at the time. I went and interviewed and got the job. I was so excited, having a really great company to work for my senior year of college. And it's just kind of blossomed from there. Started my career at Burns & Mac in 2007 in our aviation and federal group. I got introduced to Revit. It was hard transitioning from AutoCAD to Revit. From there, really became a subject matter expert. I loved the tool. Loved what it did, saw the innovation that it provided, and really started driving that to a standard practice for a design authoring tool. Got introduced to Navisworks, was doing that for roughly 5-7 years, becoming a BIM manager coordinator, getting a chance to work with multiple disciplines and learning about what those different designers, engineers, what they do and what they need to succeed for their drawings and their models. And then I had an itch for construction. The last 10 years I've been working on the construction side, wanting to know how they work, what they do, what their processes are, and really diving in from estimating, pre-con, subcontract awards, all the way to RFIs, submittals, handover, and getting a chance to interface with clients and getting to understand what they want as a handover, and then getting to actually meet the true stakeholders, which are the operators, the maintenance crews. It's not the client PM, it's those guys, it's the maintenance guys, the operators that they're the ones who take that data and have to run with it.
They're out there doing.
They're out there doing.
In the facility, yeah.
I had a chance to sit down with all the stakeholders and I wanted to dive into every aspect of construction. I've worked with our safety guys. I've worked with our construction quality guys. And then the last couple of years, I wanted to bridge the gap between design and construction. How do we do better as an industry and really start enforcing the importance of BIM and modeling in our industry? And I see the potential of it all, and I have been running with it.
And it feels like you've really traded that up into working on some cool stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I think everybody out there, I've called in the space nerds. Like if you're interested in, space exploration, you should be sitting in front of me right now. But I think everybody wants to hear a bit more about the project with Intuitive Machines, the Super Bab. I love that name. It's just so spot on with the level of, just I'm not even going to try to explain it because it's just so cool. So walk us through the mission. Tell us about that project.
Intuitive Machines, they've been around for a little bit, a couple years now, from what I know, but they are wanting to be the first private U.S. commercial company to send spacecraft to the moon. They're not about man travel. They're more about cargo and scientific discovery. They reached out to Burns McDonnell and said, hey, we want to grow our facility, have a new operations, new production, new testing facility. That way we can expand our growth, go beyond the stars. It's really what they wanted to do. It was awesome to be engaged with that project. It's roughly 106,000 square foot for their offices, admin, operations. They can actually operate and function from that facility that we just finished up.
That's cool.
And then they also have testing. The flame range is what they call it. They also call it the rocket petting zoo, which is pretty cool.
I'm going to come have to hang out with you at your project site one of these days.
Which is awesome because it allows them to test their small engines and verify and meet the necessary requirements for lunar travel. We got that building built first. And then that way they could start testing for their first mission, IM-1, that's slated to go up in mid-January.
That's wild. So they're pushing the envelope, and you've built that foundation, and now, they're petting rockets and everything else that makes a whole bunch of sense. I love it. I'm going to come visit. I've never been to Houston, so you're going to have a house guest soon, and we'll walk through that after this call wraps up. But it's really cool, man. What is it like working on a project like that? I mean, just the scope. I mean, obviously, I'm over here nerding out, and I'm sure a bunch of other people are. Like, tell me about the day-to-day. What's that like?
First, it's a dream, right? Like, I've always been infatuated with space. I watch as many of the SpaceX launches as I can. And honestly, for a lot of the project team, a lot of the clients that we work for, we can't really talk about. They can't share publicly. So for us, this is just as much of a dream for a lot of our team, is being able to share a passion that we have and also just make our clients successful. Because if we can help Intuitive Machines expand beyond our solar system and beyond Earth's atmosphere and be a partner for them and make them succeed, then that's really the dream for us. It was always exciting to do anything with the Superbab project. Just knowing what is going on in there and what they're doing for humanity is incredible. And to have a part, have a literally a foundation for them is awesome, to be supportive of them as a client. So it's incredible.
That's so cool, man. And, I think everybody in the construction industry, we've all touched different projects, and it's really cool to see the thing built that you've been part of. And, my role in the past was proposal manager. And I remember the first time I did a site walk on a project that I had helped win the bid for, it was like, oh my gosh, like this is a real thing. Like that massive stack of binders is now sitting in front of me in reality. And I work for a federal contractor, so I empathize deeply with we can't talk about the thing, and also just the process of getting there. So it's so cool that you get to up level their vision. And also, I mean, I don't even have the words, man. That's just really neat. Like you're heavily impacting space exploration. It's something to be proud of. I'd like to hear a bit more about the project. Was there anything specific that you brought to the table that was unique with the approaches, or anything interesting with the project plan where you're using technology that really pushed the envelope? Of course, what they're doing in the facility pushes the envelope. I'm curious how you brought that to life for them.
When I first got wind of the project, one, I wanted to make sure I was on it. And two, I wanted to emphasize to our team and our project management team, how do we bring an innovation to a client that's innovating the commercial space market? Talking internally with some folks, what's some technology that's coming out? And ultimately, we ended up taking a look at ACC. How do we utilize that in a single platform to better integrate our design team and our construction team as one? We tested it, we played with it, and that kind of gave us the foundation for exploring alternative or technologies that really allow us to bring value to all the other employee owners that are at Burns McDonnell. How do I save costs? How do I not duplicate the processes that go into construction? You've been there, paper pushing. It's kind of a outdated methodology with execution on the construction front. So how do we go out there and bring some sort of technology innovations with the spotlight on this project, not just internally at Burns & Mac, but for Intuitive Machines as well? We tried all sorts of technology as well, partnering with our vendors to help bring value for us, to help us make our clients successful, because then at that point, it becomes an ecosystem of success. If the software vendors partner with us, we become successful, we keep using their product, we make the client successful, they keep coming back to us, and it's repeat business all the way around.
Oh yeah,
and that's win-win-win.
Everybody loves that, and it brings so much to the table when you can build that relationship, and also the trust with your owner at the end of the day too. You go, we've brought this, you have so much visibility, it just amplifies. I'm a little nerd here, and I'm excited that the ACC tools were tied to what we're bringing out into space. I appreciate that context as well. And I'm also interested, I think I know the answer to this question, right? I'm guessing some of the answers to this question, but tell me a bit more about what you think the coolest features of this facility are. Like, let's go a little bit deeper. I want to know a bit more about this flame range and rocket petting zoo, but tell me more, man.
Honestly, my favorite part of the entire project was Intuitive Machines on the rocket petting zoo. They had hired a mural artist who painted from what I've heard from Jack Two Fish Fisher, is that it's a very similar replica of the geography of the moon.
Really?
And she broke it down. She actually came out, got some pictures, and she broke it down into, from my understanding, of a 2-foot square. And then within 7 days, she painted the mural of the moon on the side of the building.
Wow.
It was just awesome to just go back and see that. It's awesome what they're doing inside of there anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough said when you can say, I worked on the rocket petting zoo. That's just cool in itself.
Yeah,
but,
that's a nice flex. You go, yeah, well, what project are you working on? You go, rocket petting zoo.
But really, it's, to me, some of the cool features is the one that they're able to control, operate. Again, the science behind it all is just incredible that they can do that. The communication satellites and the technology that they have. And then right next door, they're testing rocket engines. Those are the two features I think that are pretty cool. And then just kind of the bonus, the cherry on top, is that mural. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And I would encourage just any listeners out there too, just to check out Intuitive Machines site as well. They kind of show and talk about it, and watch the building of that, because it is an incredible piece of art that artist did. It's awesome.
We're going to have to pull some links, and I'm going to see if I can get a photo from you.
Yeah.
Because it'd be great to include that in some of our, post-episode roundup. Yeah. I'd like to see it. Like I said, I'm going to come stay with you anyway, so I'm going to see it regardless. But it's going to be a bunch of fun. And I'm encouraged by the amount of innovation that we're starting to bring to the table here. And of course, NASA did incredible things and is still doing incredible things with, our space program as a country. But the commercial side, when you have the right people behind it, there's some really interesting envelope pushing that's going to happen. And I'm eager to see what we do in the next 5 to 10 years. That isn't just, let's just send people in a rocket up and down, that's cool too. Maybe I'm being a jerk right now. I don't know. But I think the value of what you're talking about right now is, bringing that scientific push and just looking to push the envelope for what this means to humanity. Like, what a sentence in itself,
Yeah.
Like, you're doing some cool work, man. I appreciate you sharing with it. I'd like to hear a little bit more about some of your favorite industry trends. So as you step back and think about the construction industry more broadly, what are you fired up about right now? And what do you think is going to come in the next 5 to 10 years?
Andrew hit it on the head today with the AI, right? That's the thing that's the buzz.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people here, even at AU this year, are looking into, is what's the next innovation with AI? And for me, it's AI, but it's also data. If we look at kind of the trends of all the technology that's out here, all these software vendors that are out here, everybody's trying to figure out how to give us better data. How do we give better data for ourselves to QA, QC, not duplicate data? We're inputting at some point somewhere, and creating efficiencies with minimizing duplication of data. For the industry, it's data, it's AI. I mean, that's where it's going, because at the end of the day, that's what we're chasing at Burns & Mac, is how do we take data to the next level? How do we make our teams more efficient? Making our clients successful is always our goal at Burns & Mac. Using data, AI to do that, that's where we're going.
As a self-proclaimed data nerd, you're speaking directly to my heart right now. So I love that answer. And they're so deeply interconnected, because if your data strategy isn't dialed in, and if you're not capturing things in a standardized way, using all these tools that you're alluding to here becomes a whole lot more onerous. I mean, the garbage in, garbage out conversation is a real one.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much encouraging conversation happening right now about how to achieve this ideal state, and then also build on that. So I'm stoked to see where we're going to get in the next 5 or 10 years on that topic too. But as you just alluded to with some of those announcements that Andrew made, like, a lot of this AI narrative, it's here now. Like, this isn't a future conversation. This is now. And I think those organizations that aren't being deliberate about their data, and also considering where they can augment their workflows with things like AI and other, advanced technologies, it's a competitive differentiator, but they're going to slowly fall behind. And so I think it's astute for folks to be paying attention and listening and saying, okay, where do I add this into my business in a way that's going to have impact? And it's not shiny new toy. It's legitimately, how do I save time? How do I have inferences about data that I didn't have before? How do I make better decisions at the end of the day, especially, when our schedules continue to narrow and our resources go down?
We're also suffering from there's a high demand for modelers, detailers, folks who use these design authoring tools that are out here. You have to leverage data and AI to fill the gap. Back at Kansas City, I've been, trying to reach out to the high schools. We're a big proponent in our community of having ACE mentoring, and, high schools in the STEM fields come out to Burns and Mac and show them some of their careers. And this past year, we've had them come out, show them technology, laser scanning, AR, VR, your phone can do AR, and just show them that there's more. I mean, nothing against engineers, right? But there's also people who have to be in the trenches creating the models, putting the data into the models, creating the contract drawings. We need those people. And so showing kids that it's no longer a red to black industry anymore. It's more involved with that. And then even going so far as to pique their interest of doing 3D printing. How do we use 3D printing in the AEC space? We're looking at that. I've got kids we've hired just recently that have played with VR and played with 3D printing. And so I'm leveraging what their passion for that to bring a fire in them to innovate, because they're the future. There's kids out there that don't know what they want to do. And in the AEC industry, we need data analysts, data governance, marketing professionals, all sorts of people that aren't just an engineer or a constructor. That's how we make these projects succeed. That's how we bring value and innovation to clients like Intuitive Machines, just with all the other folks that are behind the scenes that really make this stuff work as well. So yeah, I mean, in terms of like the Intuitive Machine success, I mean, that drives on a lot of people behind the scenes that made that project a success. So,
oh, absolutely.
So yeah,
and that's a cool thing to be able to bring to those kids that you're talking about too. Where you go, hey, the rocket petting zoo, this is really cool. Even if they're not able to travel out there, just showing them that there's potential to have that project, on your resume and work on cool things like this. It's all really fun. Thank you for the hard work you're doing in helping that perception issue in construction, because it's an ongoing struggle. And, we talk about this all the time, but if we're not tackling that deliberately now, in 5 years, we're going to be even in, a more challenging situation than we are today with the labor issues that we have. I'm right in line with you as far as having those conversations and just showing people what's possible. And there's a lot of careers that don't require that 4-year college degree. There's a straight path through the trades, no debt, and surprise, you're making 80 grand a year in a few years or more, considering how much experience you got.
And I don't think kids understand that, and that's what's been a joy for this year with my role and great team back in Kansas City, just showing them, hey, this isn't a low paying job. You guys don't understand the demand that we need. We need the supply. So it's awesome to partner with my alma maters and really show these kids what is possible out there and where the technology is going. So it's awesome.
You're doing some cool stuff, man. I like it. So I've got one final question for you, and I'm looking forward to your answer here. What is one tool that you'll bring to any project that you're working on?
Oh, one tool that I'd bring,
sky's the limit here. Or space, rather. That was an unintentional pun. I didn't even try that one.
Oh man, I gotta choose one.
You can pick a couple. I mean, line them up. We have at least another 10 or 15 minutes before the voice of God starts yelling at us.
Yeah, telling us to get out. I would say, I don't think it necessarily a tool, but a mindset. And I'll go back to data.
I like that. And a mindset is most certainly a tool in my perspective. And I think if our AEC businesses are not leveraging data as the tool that it is, whether it's a tool to make decisions or a tool to have a better understanding of your project or variation of those, I think it all goes in hand in hand. So that's a great answer. And again, data nerd, so I'm going to like that one anyway. So you're preaching to the choir on this one. But Stephen, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Digital Builder. And of course, I'm your host, Eric Thomas. This is the Digital Builder Podcast. If you'd like to follow the show, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We are a video first podcast as well. So head over to the Autodesk Construction Cloud YouTube channel and you can check out all of our backlog there. Also, if you'd like to follow me for some reason, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Eric Thomas that works at Autodesk from what I understand. And if you're on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call that, I am builder_digital. And without any further ado, goodbye.